Wladimir Klitschko is one of the greatest heavyweight boxers of this century. He was known for his knockout power with an amazing jab, a shattering right straight, and a quick left hook. Combine that with great mobility and footwork, you got yourselves almost an unbeatable heavyweight boxer. He gathered himself a record of 64 wins and 5 losses, making him an absolute great. One of those 5 losses is something people still talk about, but for all the wrong reasons. Wladimir started boxing with his brother Vitaly in the late 1980s. From the start, it was obvious that the two brothers were not the same as the other kids. He and his brother used to demolish our boys. In 1993, he won the Junior European Championship as a heavyweight. That was his first major accomplishment, but that was nothing compared to his accomplishment 3 years later. Initially, his brother Vitaly was supposed to be the one to win the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta, but after Vitaly tested positive for steroids, he was dismissed from the team and replaced by Wladimir. That was the first time he received world attention as he won the gold medal in the super heavyweight division.
Wladimir Klitschko. It was a great win, a day of high emotion, and Cuba finishing on top as usual with 5 gold medals.
After turning professional, he and his brother dominated the boxing scene. Wladimir gathered an impressive record of 24 wins with no losses before losing for the first time to Ross Purity. Interestingly enough, that was Vladimir's first and only time fighting in Ukraine in his professional boxing career. Purity let Wladimir punch himself out. The Ukrainian never went beyond 8 rounds before that fight, which played a huge factor in the outcome of the match. Wladimir was tired. In the 10th round, he was getting overwhelmed. He got knocked down twice in those 3 minutes. And in the 11th round, Vladimir's coach entered the ring and decided to stop the fight before the referee. Fast forward 2 years later when he had his first heavyweight title match, in which Klitschko dominated Chris Bird to win by unanimous decision.
And the new WBO heavyweight champion of the world!
Bird actually won the title 6 months prior against Vladimir's brother after Vitaly suffered a shoulder injury. Wladimir would hold the title until 2003, when he suffered a surprising technical knockout loss to Corey Sanders in the opening round. After winning 2 minor bouts in Germany, he would fight for the title once again a year later. He was scheduled to fight Brewster. Coming into the fight, Klitschko was a big favorite, and for all the right reasons. He was bigger, stronger, and more technical. He was supposed to win that fight easily. The match started, and it was obvious why Klitschko was the favorite. He controlled the fight with his quick left hand, often landing his jab and his left hook. Brewster had no answer for the bigger boxer. Wladimir also used his footwork to keep his opponent at bay, and Brewster had issues with landing any significant punches. When Klitschko found his range, he was often landing his powerful right hand, which rocked Brewster on a few occasions. That was the story for the first 4 rounds. Wladimir even knocked down his opponent in the 4th, and it looked like this one was close to being over. However, Brewster endured the punishment, got up, and survived till the end of the round. At the start of the 5th round, the same story. He knew that Brewster was hurt, and he tried to finish the fight as soon as possible. He was once again landing his punishing combinations, until he stopped. Out of nowhere, Wladimir Klitschko was tired. The punches had no real power. He stopped using his footwork to get out of the way of punches. He couldn't keep his hands up. He was visibly exhausted. Brewster started landing his left hooks, which led to a standing 8 count. Wladimir couldn't fight. His body shut down. And at the end of that 5th round, Wladimir had barely got up, and the referee decided that the fight was over. Just like in his first loss, he punched himself out. There's no other explanation. And while that was the logical thing to think, not everyone shared the same opinion. The fight was over, and Klitschko looked like he didn't know where he is. He barely sat down on his stool. There was something clearly wrong with the Ukrainian, and he was rushed to the hospital. An examination showed Klitschko's blood sugar level almost 2 times higher than the permissible norm. According to members of Klitschko's team, the doctor told them that Wladimir had been inches away from falling into a diabetic coma, and with blood sugar levels that high, Klitschko would have been incapable of handling a single proper training session. As a result of the circumstances that surrounded the fight, the FBI started an investigation. On April 12th, Wladimir arrived in Las Vegas and donated blood and urine samples for an independent examination, which was supposed to be done by Donald Catlin, who specialized in such cases. The examination showed no signs of anabolic steroids in his blood, but Catlin suggested that Klitschko could have been poisoned with haloperidol. The drug has no taste or smell and causes mental disorders, which are accompanied by impaired coordination, a weakening reaction, and overall physical weakness. After that, Wladimir demanded the tests taken by the Medical Center of South Nevada be passed on for further research. However, the tests disappeared, making the situation more bizarre and suspicious. Wladimir's lawyer suggested that he was a victim of an ongoing fight fixing in Las Vegas. Bernstein, along with some other journalists, pointed out that in the last 48 hours before the beginning of the fight, the betting odds in favor of Klitschko rapidly dropped from 11-1 to 3-1. Supposedly, a group of approximately 40 people associated with Brewster's manager Sam Simon bet from $50,000 to $100,000 on Brewster's victory. Members of Klitschko's team also pointed out that shortly before the fight, a security camera recorded a moment when two people entered Klitschko's booth and got out 4 minutes later. These people had badges but weren't members of Wladimir's team. Wladimir's brother Vitaly claimed that during the registration of the boxer and his team, the card that belonged to Emanuel Stewart's assistant had already been registered on someone else, and that such a card would allow its owner to enter any sporting hall in the building. So, a theory that Wladimir Klitschko was drugged before the fight is definitely not impossible. While there is a big number of suspicious events leading up to the fight, it could be that Wladimir just got tired. He said it himself, "I was just out of gas." Brewster kept pushing. I have a lot of respect for him. He won and became the champion. I will be thankful to him until my grave. It's something that changed my life. I'm not sure what I would have become had I won. That fight changed my life for the good. And considering Brewster is a pretty stand-up guy, I doubt he would be involved in such events. They fought again 3 years later, and this time Klitschko won. Wladimir did exactly what he did in the first fight, but he didn't get tired and Brewster quit on the stool after the 6th round. We will never know what exactly happened in the first bout, but it was definitely one of the biggest upsets in boxing history, and it's a fight that will always be surrounded by a big cloud of suspicion and controversy.
But the minute I hit him, oh, he's poisoned. Oh my gosh, really?
I want to say here and today, just to make clear, I never blamed Lamon Brewster for anything.